Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. And we got a live crew today. We got Tom Essig and Mara. It's like old days of Super Soul Sacred Sangha. This is how we used to roll. People used to just roll into the driveway, show up unannounced, barge in the door, give me a hug. Welcome, everybody, and
Good
welcome
to have
all
the whole
the
crew
listeners.
back together.
Get the whole crew back. Vegan trucker's going to come banging on the window like the old days. You see my shirt I'm wearing? Check this out.
That's an incredible shirt.
Lisa Geyser.
You have to describe it.
Gopi. Best describe it. It's a squirrel fist bumping a fist, and it says, "Best friends
Forever?
for life.
For life.
Best friends for life." Oh, how are you, Kaustubha? We had a great. I want to announce before you answer me. I'm going to do another statement.
Am I going to be able to answer?
How are you? Let me answer for you. You're probably pretty good, but hear this.
I'm fine.
Man, am I getting wolfies? You know, when your beard starts going out sideways. You know what I'm talking about? Wolfies. You know, who is that? Like, who's that guy from Kinderhook? What's his name?
Like,
come on, Martin Van Buren.
yeah, that was what I was going to say.
Martin Van Buren had these. It's not an intention. I'm trying to look like Sebastian from Zoom. That guy is well groomed. He's got the same beard as mine, just groomed. I'm just not good at doing stuff like that. That's why I need those Vrindavan barbers.
Okay, Raghunath, you've already gone in 3 different directions. You were about to say something.
We had a great, sweet baby Krishna yesterday at Gopal's, and we're going to do it tonight again for Patreon members, 7 o'clock. It was great. They made me dinner. Yeah, they made me great dinner.
What did you discuss?
Mom. We discussed the very beginning of the Garga Samhita, where we're going to read through the Garga Samhita as much as we can.
So what happened at the beginning of the Garga Samhita?
Well, the very beginning, Garga comes into the room, and
he's like an astrologer.
He sees Shaunaka Rishi. He sees Shaunaka Rishi, and Shaunaka Rishi, in glorifying Garga, you know, you see a great sage. What do? You start immediately glorify them, and then you ask them relevant questions. Tell us about the descent of Lord Krishna. And he, of course, says, this is like the highest topic you can ask. Such topics cleanse the heart of all material contamination. Let me tell you what happened when the great sage, and he goes into a story. When
He's
the
like
great
the best
sage,
guy to ask, right? Because he's the astrologer that was right there.
Yeah. He was the, everyone stood up for Garga Rishi when he came in. All the sages, Shaunaka and all these sages. And then he tells a story about Narada and Narada meeting this great king of Mithila.
Okay.
And then more questions and answers carried on from there.
Okay.
Today. And you know what's interesting? It talked about all the different, and this is why I like this Vedic science of spirituality. It doesn't talk about like this person's the son of God and this person is a great saint. It talks about, okay, there first you have this Amsa. This is how God can appear on this planet in 6 different ways. It talks about the Amsa. Do you remember all the Kala?
The
The Abhinansa, I can't remember all that. The Purna in full,
Complete full
and then
incarnation.
in complete full. Paripurna Atma, which is like Krishna in full.
Mhm.
And all the avatars are Purna, I think. I can't remember. They're Amsas. But basically they
also-
talk, basically they're all coming in. But it's just finally Krishna, who is the original supreme personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
Then he actually came in this particular time.
Oh, so
And
he was
sometimes
saying,
there's just
I get
sometimes
it. So, yeah.
sometimes they're just jivas that the personality of Godhead empowers, which is that's the Shakti-yogesh avatar. They use the example of Kapila, right?
Kapila.
At the top, Kapila.
Really?
Kapila. Yeah, he was like a Shakti-yogesh avatar.
That's the first time I've heard it like that. What version of
Did I
the
get that wrong?
Garga Samhita are you?
I just made it up, that version. Here comes the scrutinizing Sarup Damodaran.
So in other words, what you're saying is that so Shaunaka Rishi asks Gargamuni, sadhu to sadhu, right? Sage to sage, says, well, tell me about the birth of Krishna. And so then he frames it by saying, well, Krishna appears in many different ways, right? Like he comes as a Shaktivesha avatar, something his power to living entity. He comes in all these different avatar forms and different categories. But this time that we're talking about, he actually came himself like that.
Yeah, you want to get the book? I can read the quote. Yeah. How are you doing? I'm going to might even read that quote to you.
I'm doing really good. I'm happy that you're having such a great Sweet Baby Krishna. I had to join it myself. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, and I was a little mad at Karuna, 8 years old, Lebanon. She did not join last night.
There must have been a good reason.
It is 2 a.m. in Lebanon, and I am
that's a
pretty
good
good reason. From her, but yes, but that's okay. We had a good group. Okay. Otherwise, all good.
Everything's good. You got a good nugget?
Okay, so wait,
we got announcements.
We got to read this first.
Okay.
All right, check this out.
Yeah, they're from the Garga Samhita.
Yeah, where's this?
So the Amsas.
Okay. So Narada is speaking in the Smriti Shastra. You want to explain what Smriti Shastra is?
Smriti. There's Smriti and there's Shruti.
Yeah, Smriti is what you remember, right?
Smriti and Shruti. Shruti
is what you hear.
Yeah.
It's
like it's direct. It's Shruti is considered to be like well, different people consider it different ways, so I won't even get into that. But there's Shastra that's heard, and there's Shastra that's like directly revealed, and then Shastra that's revealed indirectly, you could say.
Okay. So Narada says, in the Smriti Shastra, the great sage led by Vyas explains that the Lord descends in 6 kinds of form. Samsa as a part. An Amsa, a part of a part. Amsa as a part. Avesha, when he enters into a jiva. Kala, a full part. Purna, full. And Paripurnatma,
totally
Atmatama, most full. Like we would take a full cup of water, then you put it most full to the brim. So check this out. Samsa incarnations begin with Marichi. The Amsa incarnations begin with Brahma. So the Amsa is the heart.
Yeah, because these are... Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I was just going to say these are like, there's Brahma and then Marichi is his son. So like it's saying Brahma was the first within this universe, the first example of this type of manifestation. Marichi is the first example of that. The next one.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. I didn't think of it like that. Yeah. The Kala incarnations begin with Kapila and Kurma. Kala is a full part.
You see, so Kapila is not a Shaktivesh, Papa.
Oh, me make a mistake.
Okay, well that's an important one. Okay?
It's important. I can make a little mistake there sometimes.
All right.
And sometimes I make a little mistake and I speak it as truth. Forgive me. Okay. And then check this. And then Avesha incarnations begin with Parshuram. Aveshas are the entrance into a jiva.
Yeah, Shaktivesha.
Yeah. The Purna incarnations are the Shringa, Rama, and Lord Hari, the ruler of Lord Hari, the ruler of Sweta Dweep.
So that includes it sounds like that includes the Leela avatars for the most part.
Yeah. Naranarayan is
Narayana Rishi.
Now the Paripurnatama form of the Lord is Sri Krishna, who is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the master of countless universes and he is splendidly manifest in the realm of Goloka.
So Bhagavatam establishes this too, right? That it says Krishna stu Bhagavan Svayam. That it mentions all these different types of manifestations, how God manifests in so many different ways. But then it says, but Krishna is the original Bhagavan. He's the source of all of these qualities that manifest in all these different ways.
It's so interesting, huh?
It is. It's a science.
It's a science. Okay.
What was that term? Paripurna?
Paripurnatama.
Purna means Purna means full, and pari means around. So it sounds like all around full. It's like the all around complete full manifestation of God.
Like that those yoga poses with the pari in it.
And like what they say, like no matter how you slice it, or like no matter what angle you come from, he's like, there's no.
You can't beat it.
He's the end of the road there.
Krishna consciousness, you can't beat it. That's a new T-shirt. little Krishna. Oh yes.
Announcements, Raghu. Announcements.
Sorry, I'm silent here. Excuse me. So we have our Sweet Baby Krishna tonight at 7 p.m. for Patreon members. Today also there's Bhakti Recovery Group meetings. The men meet at 11 a.m. and the women meet at 2 p.m. And then tomorrow, Bobby is offering a 3-part yin series for our Patreon members. Woo! So the first one is tomorrow, exploring yin with her. That's at 9:45 a.m.
Okay. Well, all righty. Here's a nugget for you, my friend. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's called the Wise Woman's Stone.
The Wise Woman's Stone.
Yeah. Okay. The wise woman who was traveling in the mountains found a precious stone in a stream.
What kind of stone do you think it was, Raghunath?
Probably a magical round stone.
Okay.
I'm telling this because ever read Sylvester and the Magic Stone when you were little?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. Sylvester finds a magic stone. Okay. Needs a donkey. Okay. A wise woman who was traveling the mountains found a precious stone in a stream. Oh, a Shalagram Shila, maybe. The next day, she met another traveler who was hungry, and the wise woman opened her bag to share her food. The hungry traveler saw the precious stone and asked the woman to give it to him. She did so without hesitation. The traveler left rejoicing in his good fortune. He knew the stone was worth enough to give him security for a lifetime. But a few days later, he came back to return the stone to the wise woman. I've been thinking, he said. I know how valuable this stone is, but if I give it back in the hope that you can give me something even more precious, give up what's here for what's behind curtain number 1.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's make a deal. Remember that?
Well,
show?
in other words, so this is somewhat similar to the Sanatana Goswami story that we told, right? But he realized, okay, she gave me this stone; it's so valuable, and she gave it just like without even hesitating. What does she have, right? So keep reading.
Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me something more precious. Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me the stone. So he's recognizing that her selflessness is the most valuable.
Or she's got something, and she's in touch with something, right? Internally. He could see that it's something internal, something within you. Like I get this stone and I go into, when we hear all these different like samatvam, right? We hear like, you don't rejoice or lament. It makes it sound like what? You're not like happy, like when something good happens?
Right.
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 But see it more like I think you get a better picture when you see it in this kind of context. That like he got this stone and he became elated, right? Like he was saying now life is good. It wasn't good before I had the stone, but now that I got the stone, everything's great. And he's where she's like just in a state of like steady kind of peace and happiness. And she's like, well, you can have this. I don't need this stone. What I've got isn't dependent on this stone, right? So he asked for it. Yeah, here you go. She's probably just waiting to give it to someone, and he asked for it. Oh, okay. Well, if he wants it, I'll give it to him. But that state of mind to him was like almost inconceivable. Like when you get the stone, it's supposed to be like, now you've got it, and now life is good. Her life is good with or without the stone. That's what I want to know about, right?
What is the real treasure? Shall I share some lyrics from
Shelter?
not shelter, but Evita.
Okay, Evita.
And as fortune and as for fame, I never invited them in, though it seemed. To the world, they were all I desire. They are illusions. They're not the solutions they promise to be. Isn't that good?
Evita. Say it again.
Right.
Are you reading it?
The whole thing? I'm reading it to you. Like what
you just
said.
have the lyrics of Evita?
I didn't. I just left these lyrics up just in case I needed them one day. No, you said something and it triggered Evita.
Okay.
And I Googled it quick.
All right.
And as for fortune, and as for fame, I never invited them in, though it seemed. To the world, they were all I desire. But they are illusions. They're not the solutions they promise to be.
Is that the song "Don't Cry for Me"?
Yeah.
Don't
cry for me, Argentina. That's all we know from that song.
Because it was in the commercial when we were growing up.
Because it was in the commercial. Me and Kaustubha grew up the exact same life, watching the exact same channels.
When you grow up because in New York, there's all the Broadway shows. So there's all these commercials for all the Broadway shows. And I probably saw that 1,000 times, right?
If you grew up in the tri-state area, we grew up in the same commercials, the same TV shows, the same WPIX. Okay, go on. Okay, Prabhu.
So that was
You
it.
ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting a Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nitya bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyanat Timurandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and our teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we got a new chapter, my friend.
You know what we're going to do today, Raghunath? We're going to do the whole chapter in one show.
What?
Yeah.
Chapter 10. We can do that? We can read the whole chapter?
This is one of those examples in the Bhagavatam where it's like, it's a whole chapter that is just framing one verse. It's like, basically, we're going to hear the story about, remember, we heard that it was Lord Vishnu, actually, that told Dhruva that, like, you know, you're going to become this big king and your planet and all that, and your brother is going to get killed, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So at the beginning of this chapter, we hear about how his brother's killed, and then he's killed by the Yakshas, right? Who are these?
There's like sort of higher beings, but they have a twist of trouble. They got some twisted trouble going on.
Yeah, they're special for sure, but they're also just a little bit, they got a bit of a dark side. So anyway, the Yakshas kill his brother, and he comes back, and he's, you know, this is like mystic warfare, you know, so he's like one person that's capable of handling like an army.
You have to like not just worry about other humans and other people and death. You also have to worry about higher beings back then that come.
Yeah, and he was well prepared. And so he's going to fight these higher beings, and they're going to throw at him all kind of, first of all, they're going to like, kind of like in a more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a more, I don't know, standard kind of way they fight him. And then when that fails, they start to throw mystic, you know, things at him, and he fights it all off. But it's kind of like the chapter is like saying, no matter what you go through, no matter what gets thrown at you, and they throw all kinds of stuff at him, you know. And no matter what you go through, there's one thing that can ultimately get you through it, and that's the last verse of the chapter. And then the next chapter, he's wiping these yakshas out so bad that he gets caught up in anger, like, you know, which can happen when you get into fighting, you know. And then Swayambhuva Manu, who's his grandfather, great-grandfather, no, grandfather, I think. Swayambhuva Manu comes to him and says, hey, you know, let's slow it down here. And then he begins to speak really great instructions. That's the next chapter. But let's read today's chapter.
What do you think of, what do you think of demons?
Excuse me?
Like demons, like present day. Do you think there's like present day subtle beings haunting people, driving them crazy? Like, do you think mental illness is woven in, could be with perhaps like a subtle entity, maybe a yaksha? Like,
sometimes.
you know, sometimes.
Not a yaksha or anything, but yeah, that's
Maybe,
you know,
maybe a yaksha. I mean, we just use this general term, a demon, but some subtle entity that's troubling a person. Some people are really, really troubled in their mind and do sometimes even do horrible things.
Yeah.
You think?
I do.
You do? Okay. Just wanted to see where you stood on that side of the fence. All right. Kaustubha believes in demons.
I mean,
no.
all the demons.
Live,
that's the word that
live.
you chose to use. Okay.
What can we get him to admit to today? What about fairies? Do you believe in fairies?
Okay.
Next one. The great sage Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, after Dhruva Maharaj married the daughter of Prajapati Shishumara." There's a good name for you, Mara. Shishumara.
What's the man's
Shishumara.
name?
It's a man's name? Oh yeah.
The daughter
Sorry.
of Prajapati Shishumara.
Yeah. Whose name was Brahmi.
There we go.
That's a nice name, Brahmi. The two sons named Kalpa and Vatsara were born of her.
Okay.
The greatly powerful Dhruva Maharaj had another wife named Ila, who was the daughter of the demigod Vayu. Interesting. He can marry the daughters of gods. By her, he begot a son named Utkala and a very beautiful daughter. So this is interesting. This is a story about conceiving children with a god. Yet he's a human. He's human.
Yeah.
So you can marry a god. You can.
All right.
Anyway, I think that's interesting.
Okay, let's keep it moving. Move along.
Dhruva Maharaj's younger brother, Uttama, was still unmarried. Once went on a hunting excursion. He's going to get... Anyway.
Oh, there's always trouble in these texts.
Whenever someone goes hunting, there's always trouble.
Yeah. It's
and
ominous
was
as soon as you
killed,
hear that, isn't it?
Right? And was killed by a powerful yaksha in the Himalayan mountains. Oh, God, we were just there. I wonder if there's a yaksha still there. Along with him, his mother, Saruchi, also followed the path of her son, and she died.
Okay.
I've heard from Janeshwar that...
Okay, yes.
You're already writing it off.
No.
I've heard from Janeshwar, like, because we're going to go...
But Janeshwar is a person full of various types of lore.
He is filled with lore wisdomish lore.
Yeah.
But because we were going to go bathe in the Ganga one night, he's like, you can't bathe in the Ganga at night. This is the time that yakshas and other beings bathe.
Okay.
You got to wait till sunrise. It's inauspicious.
Okay.
Just thought I'd share that. Because we're talking about yakshas in the Himalayas.
Yes, I understand the connection.
Okay. The greatly powerful Dhruva Maharaj had another way. Okay. Dhruva Maharaj is okay. When Dhruva Maharaj heard of the killing of his brother Uttama by the Yaksha in the Himalayan mountains, being overwhelmed with lamentation and anger, he got in his chariot and went out for victory over the city of Yaksha, Alakapuri. Alakapuri. Interesting. Dhruva Maharaj went to the northern direction of the Himalayan range. In a valley, he saw a city full of ghostly persons who were followers of Lord Shiva.
That's the Yakshas.
Maitreya continued, my dear son, my dear Vidura, as soon as Dhruva Maharaj reached Alakapuri, he immediately blew his conch shell, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire sky in every direction. The wives of the it's sort of like the equivalent of pulling up to someone's house and blowing your horn. Hey!
But, I think it's also a way of saying, hey, I'm ready. You guys killed my brother. I'm ready to fight. But he's saying, now come out and fight, right? It's not like he's just going to start bombing the city and taking out civilians. He's going to fight their warriors,
Yes, there was nobility, even fighting yakshas. O hero Vidura, the great powerful heroes of the yakshas, unable to tolerate the resounding vibrations of the conch shell of Dhruva Maharaj, came forth from their city with weapons and attacked him. Dhruva Maharaj, who was a great charioteer and certainly a great bowman also, immediately began to kill them by simultaneously discharging arrows 3 at a time.
Okay.
Now that sounds a little far-fetched, but I found a guy on YouTube who can
Oh, there you
shoot
go.
3 arrows at a time and hit.
Well,
This,
there's that girl that's a devotee. You've seen her?
yeah, she was going to be on the show on a walk on Wednesday. Arissa Kelly.
Is that her name?
Everybody follow her today. She's got 1 million followers, and she shoots bows and arrows with her feet.
Yeah, like
doing
she goes
handstands.
into like scorpion pose or something like that.
Goes into
right?
scorpion
And then
pose
but
and
she
shoots
holds
arrows
the bow and the arrow with her feet and like hits the bullseye, right?
and hits the bullseye. Yeah. Yes. But if you also Google search, something like fantastic archery, there's this guy that is, it's like he's right out of the Mahabharata, the things he can do. Like
Oh,
he
I've
can
seen
shoot
that,
a
yeah.
bow out of the sky. Like someone shoots a bow at him and he shoots it out of the, just
an
crazy
arrow.
stuff.
An
An arrow shoots an arrow out of the sky while it's flying. Stuff like you read about in the Mahabharata. So shooting
Okay.
3 arrows, that's business as usual.
Mhm.
Great archers were doing that. That's before
You
they
do hear
had
about like someone
automatic
shoots an
weapons.
arrow and someone takes down that arrow with their arrow. Someone throws a javelin and Arjuna
cuts
takes
the
out the javelin.
cuts down the javelin in half. Yes,
Yeah.
you can see it all on YouTube.
Okay.
Kid you not. Dhruva
gonna-
Maharaj, who was a great charioteer, certainly was a great bowman, immediately began to kill them 3 arrows at a time. When the heroes of the Yakshas saw that all their heads were being thus threatened by Dhruva Maharaj, they could easily understand their awkward position. Like, whoops, what have we
We're in trouble.
done? We made a big mistake. And they concluded that they would certainly be defeated, but as heroes, they lauded the action of Dhruva. Lauded
is
means
the-
what?
They glorify
Praise
it.
the action. Yeah, you appreciate it. Just like in MMA, the good fighters in MMA,
Mhm.
they're always like sometimes you'll
Respect.
smack a guy around, and the guy, instead of like getting angry, he'll stop. He'll almost like stop the fight for a moment in the midst of the fight. Go,
Well
pretty
done.
good, well done. I appreciate that. Or sometimes they have this other type of martial training where they're just like, nope, I'm not tapping out. You're gonna have to choke me. Stuff like that. That type of like, okay, it's time to die and choke me out. Right? Jiu-Jitsu Nath, he knows that. Matt Godden will not tap. He's like, kill me if you want me to tap.
Okay.
Undefeated.
That's why they call him Jiu-Jitsu now. Let's keep it moving, Raghu.
Okay, we're doing good here. Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by anyone's feet, the Yakshas, being intolerant of the powerful prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, 6 from each of their soldiers, and thus they valiantly exhibited their prowess.
They were good fighters too.
They too were good. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaj. With full strength, they showered upon Maharaj Dhruva, along with the chariot and charioteer, various types of feathered arrows, putty gauze, iron bludgeons, nistrimasas. I want to see Jiu-Jitsu now learn how to use this stuff. Swords, tridents, lances, pikes,
Spears.
and busundi weapons.
We don't get a translation for that.
We'll get the translation for that. But I see what they use in South India as a weapon. They use these, it's like razor sharp whips. Ever see those?
No.
The Kalari fighters of South India? Very interesting.
I'm sure it is.
Dhruva Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall.
I guess that kind of indicates that he was able to withstand it, right? Like, even though they were raining it down on him, he was like a mountain. He was.
Hey, Mara, can you look up when gunpowder started? I'm trying to find the Great Equalizer.
I
Someone
think it
pulls out a
started
gun.
sometime around, like Genghis Khan time, somewhere around that era.
That's 9th century. Chinese alchemists.
I see.
Hmm.
Chinese.
See, Chinese Genghis Khan. He wasn't Chinese.
But he was in that. He was in that general
Was he?
Asian area.
Has he? Look up
He was
Genghis
Mongolian.
Khan's birth.
I believe.
I want to see him because it was.
I think it was Mongolian.
I want to see if he was born in the 900s or. You're 200 years off. We're going to give that to
Okay,
you.
it's
In the big
close.
course of time, you're right on the money.
Okay.
I know the time of Cleopatra, whenever that was.
Let's keep moving, Raghunath. We got to read this whole chapter today. Okay.
We're doing good, man. We're
No,
already
we're
on
not.
17.
Okay. Are we on 17? I don't think we are.
16. That's 15. The Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, exclaimed they had conquered Dhruva Maharaj. But in the meantime, Dhruva's chariot suddenly appeared, just as the sun suddenly appears from within foggy mist.
You missed text 14.
All the siddhas from the higher planetary systems were observing the fight from the sky. Isn't that interesting? They observe things.
Mm-hmm.
And when they saw that Dhruva Maharaj had been covered by incessant arrows of the enemy, they roared tumultuously, "Oh, the grandson of Manu, Dhruva, is now lost." They cried that Dhruva Maharaj was just like the sun, and now he has set within the ocean of the Yakshas. So they were also poetic.
Yes.
The Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, exclaimed, we have conquered Dhruva. But in the meantime, Dhruva's chariot appeared just when you thought he was over, just as the sun suddenly appears from within foggy mist.
Okay.
Dhruva Maharaj's bow and arrows twanged.
So they continued the sun theme there, right?
Going with the sun analogy.
Yeah.
Dhruva Maharaj's bow and arrows twanged and hissed. Imagine the sound of that.
Yeah.
How fast it's going. Causing lamentation in the heart of his enemies, like, oh, he's not dead.
He's back.
He began to shoot incessant arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as the blasting wind scatters the assembled clouds in the sky. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruva Maharaj pierced the shields and bodies of the enemy, like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven, which dismantled the bodies of the mountains. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, the heads of those who are cut to pieces by the arrows of Dhruva Maharaj were decorated very beautifully with earrings and turbans. The legs of their bodies were as beautiful as golden palm trees, and their arms were decorated with golden bracelets and armlets. And on their heads, they were very valuable helmets bedecked with gold. All these ornaments lying on the battlefield were very attractive and could bewilder the mind of a hero. I know exactly what you're thinking, Amara. Do you? Do I? What are you thinking?
You tell me.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah, you tell her. You already know exactly.
Well,
what
there's a bunch of arms with golden rings and heads with golden rings. Would you take those golden rings, Raghunath? Would you take them?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing,
what she
right?
was saying. Because
Well,
I'm
those are
into
the spoils
treasures.
of war.
The spoils of war. I'm into treasures. So yeah.
Keep it coming, Raghu. Keep it coming.
Spoils of war. Is that called grave robbery?
No, it's not a grave. That was kind of part of the whole battle thing. Is they would go out there like that, and then you could go and
take their weapons,
collect that stuff. Yeah, their armor and apparently
Probably
their
had-
jewelry.
They probably had like crews of people that weren't warriors. Like, okay, let's get this stuff.
Well, it's saying here that what did it say? It could bewilder the mind of even a hero. Like even a hero could be like, "Whoa, there's a lot of gold around on the battlefield right now."
Yeah. The remaining Yakshas, who somehow or other were not killed, had their limbs cut to pieces by the arrows of the great warrior Dhruva. They began to flee, just as elephants flee when defeated by a lion. I thought it was going to say a mouse.
Okay.
You know, like they say that elephants are scared of mice. I don't know if that's true or if that was just in the cartoons. Dhruva Maharaj, the best of human beings, observed that in the great battlefield, not one of the opposing soldiers was left standing with proper weapons. So they might have been standing holding something like an arrow, like
A
that's
broken
not a,
one.
a broken arrow. He then desired to see the city of Alakapuri, but he thought to himself, no one knows the plans of the mystic Yakshas. Like, you know what? You don't know what these guys have up their sleeves.
That's right.
They're
Exactly.
mystics.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't time to tour their city.
Mhm.
In the meantime, while Dhruva Maharaj was doubtful of his mystic enemies, he was talking with his charioteer, and they heard a tremendous sound as if the whole ocean were there. And they found that from the sky, a great dust storm was coming over them from all directions. I also follow dust storms on Instagram, by the way.
For real?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Very interesting. Sometimes dust storms come from thousands of miles away.
Amazing.
Okay. Within a moment, the whole sky was overcast with dense clouds, and severe thundering was heard. There was glittering electric lightning and severe rainfall. My
Gets
dear
worse.
my dear faultless Vidura, in the rainfall there was, oh God.
You see?
in the rainfall. This happens a lot in the Bhagavatam. Maybe it was a thing.
Well, it is a thing, but go ahead, read it, and we'll discuss it.
My dear followers, in the rainfall, there was blood, mucus. Blood's bad enough, but a bunch of mucus?
That's really nasty.
Oh, and it gets worse. Pus. It's raining outside. Yeah, it's coming down. Pus. But wait, there's more. Stool. I wonder what kind of animal stool. And like cow dung, not so bad.
Okay.
So, urine. And marrow. There was even marrow falling heavily before Dhruva Maharaj. And there were chunks of bodies falling from the sky.
Okay, here's my question.
All right, so
we're here about this. I'm wondering if that was actually falling or if it was like an illusion of that was falling.
That's what I was thinking. The Yakshas made this happen. We're like, where are the bodies coming from? Where do you get all that blood from?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of it around
gallons and gallons of. How do you get gallons and gallons of pus?
Well, the mystics. Yeah, I mean, maybe they could, but maybe it was just like, maybe the idea was like, in other words, this is the kind of mystic thing you would throw at an army to just so that they totally lose heart, right? It's just like one moment they're ready to fight, and the next minute is like, oh my God, like, I can't handle this.
Yeah, so I mean, they had to, they do these intimidation tactics. It was happening regular throughout the world history. The Celts invaded Rome naked, screaming. That's pretty intimidating. You a bunch of naked redheaded guys.
Yeah.
I'd be scared out of my mind.
Me too.
So there's like a fear factor, Yeah.
They're throwing the fear factor at Dhruva. But
even if you're the bravest of warrior and all this horrific stuff is coming from the sky, I'd be like, oh my God.
But like even like metaphorically, I think the way that we can understand this chapter, because we're going to see where it goes, but it's kind of like we say, like we'll say nowadays, we'll say like, I'm going through a lot of crap right now, right? Something like that, right?
Right.
Like it hit the fan. Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like all this disgusting. I'm going through all this disgusting stuff in life. Life is getting hard. When life is difficult, we feel like it's all getting thrown at us, right? We speak that way.
Yeah.
So how do you get through it? That's what this chapter is all about. It's in one verse. It's going to tell us how we get through all this kind of stuff.
All right, here we go. In the meantime, while Dhruva Maharaj, okay, read that. Okay. Next, a great mountain was visible in the sky, and from all directions, hailstones like that. Hailstones, nothing after that.
Yeah, go ahead. Throw
like I'll take a hailstone of a human corpse, along with lances, clubs, swords, iron bludgeons, and great pieces of stone. Dhruva Maharaj also saw many big serpents. That's another thing I would want to see falling from the sky. Serpents.
Angry eyes.
Saw this other guy on YouTube. Anyway, let's get into it.
Okay.
Dhruva Maharaj also saw many big serpents with angry eyes, vomiting forth fire and coming to devour him, along with groups of mad elephants, lions, and tigers. Then, as if it were the time of dissolution of the whole world, the fierce sea with foaming waves and great roaring sounds came forward before him. The demon Yakshas are by nature very heinous, and by their demonic power of the illusion, they can create many strange phenomenon to frighten one who is less intelligent.
Okay.
Me.
But not Dhruva.
But not Dhruva. When the great sage heard that Dhruva Maharaj was overpowered by the illusory mystic tricks of the demons, they immediately assembled to offer him auspicious encouragement.
Okay. So Dhruva's going through it, right? He's going through a lot of crap. It hit the fan. It's all raining down on him. He's going through difficult challenges in life. And the sages, they're his sympathizers, right? It says all the great sages, they got together and they're like, we need to help him, right? What can get him through all the crap that gets thrown at us?
What do you think the sages are going to say?
And how do you get through all that illusion, right? What can we do to help him? So all the sages said,
CBD oil.
It wasn't CBD oil.
It wasn't CBD oil?
No, they didn't break into like a product placement.
MyMomsNuts.com will get you through this day. No, they went into
all the sages
said, Dear Dhruva, O son of King Uttanapad, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Sarangadanva, right? One who holds the Saranga bow.
Mm-hmm.
Know what that means? who relieves the distress of his devotees. Kill all your threatening enemies. Sages say it's going to happen. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus, a devotee is saved. Chanting the holy name, powerful.
It'll save you from anything, including death, right?
Yeah. You get to the realization is there is no death.
Right.
That's a big one.
Right.
You become fearless.
Yeah. Like Dhruva's having, we can say he's going through a lot of crap, right?
Going through.
And he's dealing with a lot of illusion, right? He's having all kinds of, he's caught in an illusory realm that's throwing all kinds of crap at him. And the sages get together and they say, the one thing, that'll help you is the holy name. We could read this purport, but I want to mention today is a special day. Do you know what day is today, Raghu?
Today,
it's appearance day of a great sage.
Sage?
Mm-hmm. A sage?
No,
great
I don't.
Acharya. I'll say an acharya.
Great acharya, great spiritual master. Who?
Yeah. Ramanujacharya.
Ramanujacharya.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we should have told the Ramanujacharya story.
Well, we still have a little time. You could.
I don't know any. I've done some research.
Well, I have a verse from Ramanujacharya, or a statement, a quote.
Okay, good. Because we have a little bit of extra time, and you did rush me through all my squirrels today.
Well, no, so that we could get to this point. Now we have 10 minutes to get to the point of the whole thing.
I appreciate Ramanuj.
Yeah. So Ramanuja says this. He says, instead of worrying about the problems in your life, we should describe who Ramanuja is. You want to describe a little bit?
He was another one of these.
When did he live?
All right, hot seat. About the time of Genghis Khan, I think. No, I think he lived in the 1100s. No.
Yeah, that's right. He lived basically 1,000 years ago. Like I think last year was his 1,000th anniversary of his birth. So this should be 1001. I believe.
He started to establish that, as Shankara put forth this idea of we are one. It's not like nothing. Shankara came and sort of defeated Buddhism in India and reestablished the Vedic teachings of the Gita. And he's like, no, because Buddha was teaching like it's all nothing. And Ramanuja started saying, well, it's not nothing, it's something. But it's like it's not zero, it's one. We're all one. There's God and us, we're all the same. Shankara started teaching God and us are all the same. Mm-hmm. And then Ramanuja started saying, actually, yeah, but different, but slightly different. We're actually not exactly like God. And so he started teaching.
In one sense, his philosophy is called Vaishishta Dvaita, right? So Vaishishta Advaita. So Shankar taught Advaita, which means non-dualism. Everything's one. And technically, Vaishishta Dvaita means qualified dualism, right? Yeah, well, I'm sorry, qualified non-dualism. So you could, in a way, you could say, well, in one sense we're all one, but in another sense we're not. And really, that term may even be just slightly misleading because really he was giving a pretty much a full-throated, counter idea that no, God is God and we are us, and eternally, and we are God's servants. So he began the Sri Sampradaya, a very important Bhakti lineage. He's seen as in a sense not the originator of the lineage, but like the acharya of that lineage. His teachings are held. Right. If two people within that Sampradaya have a disagreement, they say, well, what does Ramanuja say? Let's hear what he has to say. And he established important temples and really important commentaries. That Srila Prabhupada was, the commentaries that we read, they were influenced by, maybe less in Bhagavatam, I'm not sure if he did a Bhagavatam commentary, but certainly Bhagavad Gita, are influenced by Ramanuja's commentaries. So Ramanuja said, and it relates to the verse that we just read, instead of worrying about the problems in your life, try to face it boldly by uttering the sweet names of Lord Vishnu. Believe that Lord Vishnu is the one who removes the darkness from your life, and he will light bright lamps on your path.
Ooh, me likey.
That's nice, right?
You light bright lamps on your path.
Let's read that again. All right, you ready? instead of worrying about the problems in your life. Like, in other words, Dhruva, he had a lot of problems at that moment in his life, didn't he? It was like a lot was flying at him.
Yeah.
But instead of worrying about the problems in your life, try to face it boldly. How so? By uttering the sweet names of Lord Vishnu. Believe that Lord Vishnu is the one who removes the darkness from your life, and he will light bright lamps on your path.
I like it.
It's beautiful, right? That's just, in other words, it's to someone without faith, it'll be like, come on, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I got serious problems, serious issues that I'm dealing with. And you're saying you just chant your little mantra and everything goes away. You know, but in one sense, yes. In one sense,
That's all you got to do, really. You know what? I was having a tough day yesterday.
Okay.
You want to know the God honest truth? I was having a tough day, feeling a little emotional,
Okay.
bogged down with the minutia of material existence.
The illusion.
Still not getting warm out, although the weather app promised me it was going to be warm. It's still sort of cold out,
Okay.
a little wet out, and I was just like struggling. I was supposed to go to Lowe's, and I couldn't get there in time because I was doing Sweet Baby Krishna. I was a little bummed, and I had a little moment. And you know what I did?
What do you do?
Went to Gopal's house and did Sweet Baby Krishna, and the clouds lifted. Clouds lifted. It not only lifts your cloud, it lifts everybody in the room's cloud. You know, it just does. That's the power of the hearing and chanting about Sri Krishna. Changes the heart, changes the mind.
It's like,
Gives a little light.
you know, in one sense, it's coming, in a sense, the chapter is a metaphor, right? Not like entirely, but like in a sense it is. In other words, you get crap thrown at you in life, you get illusion thrown at you in life, and it just seems miserable.
At you.
Blood, pus, and the rest.
Stones. Some people are throwing stones at
It's
you.
all raining down on you. Sometimes you feel like it's all
Yeah.
raining down on you, right?
Yeah.
And the sages get together and say, "Oh, well, we have an answer for that. There is a response for that. There's a way to cut through that illusion and be restored."
And all those things are actually illusions. That's another interesting point to it.
Yes,
they're actually
that's right.
illusions. You
It's all
think they're
illusion.
actually bad for you. Don't worry. You take this holy name, it's going to be all good.
That's right. You connect to what's eternal, right? All of this is temporary. It's illusory. It's here one moment, it's gone the next.
Okay.
Right.
Everybody on Zoom has made a commitment. I don't know if Mara told them that, but if you're listening on Zoom, you're supposed to have a commitment of at least one round of japa. That means you're chanting that Maha Mantra on one bead 108 times each day. Okay, Zoomers? I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice. This is a two-way camera. I can see into your house during the course of the entire day. And I'm looking, when are they chanting? He doesn't have his beads. All right, any takeaways, Mara? What do you got for us? Give us some wisdom that we can
You're
take
cutting
with
out
us.
4 minutes early. You've been cutting out early. Are you doing this because you got to get your kids to school? Is that what's going
No,
on?
the kids aren't here.
Okay, we still got 4 minutes here.
We got 4. Okay.
Why don't we read the commentary?
Oh, all right. All right. You know what? I'm just focused. I'm not looking at the clock.
Okay.
How about that as an
Well,
excuse?
then, if you were focused, then maybe just keep
Not a good
reading it.
excuse, Mara?
Yeah, I'm not buying that one. You want me to read it? I got it right here, Raghunath.
Okay, open it up.
This is Srila Prabhupada commenting on this verse. The great rishis approached Dhruva Maharaj at a time when his mind was very perplexed due to the magical feats exhibited by the Yakshas.
Not to be
We've all
confused.
been there. Huh?
Not to be confused.
What? Okay.
Hare Krishna.
A devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By his inspiration only, the sages came to encourage Dhruva Maharaj and assure him that there was no danger because he was a soul fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord. By the grace of the Lord, if a devotee at the time of death can simply chant his holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Boom.
Simply by chanting this Maha Mantra, they immediately surpass the great ocean of the material sky and enter the spiritual sky. They never have to come back for repetition of birth and death. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can surpass the ocean of death. So Dhruva Maharaj was certainly able to surpass the illusory magical feats of the Yakshas, which for the time being disturbed his mind. Thus end the Bhakti-yogi purports to the 4th canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhruva Maharaj's fight with the Yakshas.
That's it. We're taking that's the holy name is the express train of the yoga system.
It is.
It's like the express train uptown. Shh. Making no
train?
local stops.
All right. Now you turn to Mara. At this
Mara.
point. There you go.
We're Ocean of Death from Scranton. We're Express Train. Okay.
All right. The first one's kind of more of a slogan, but Krishna consciousness, you can't beat it.
Krishna consciousness, you can't beat it.
That's your t-shirt, right?
That's our t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness isn't dependent on valuable stones.
True.
From the nugget.
From the nugget.
I'm like that.
Fame and fortune are illusions, not solutions.
We're not going to quote Evita. We should have quoted Evita if you're going to quote
is
anything. Oh, that was the whole thing? Okay. Forget it.
Hunting always brings trouble.
It does.
It seems like that, yeah.
How do you get through the pus storm? Chanting the holy name saves you from everything, even death.
Ooh.
There you go. Is that it?
Hey, we're Pus Storm. Fayetteville.
I still got
From
some more.
Fayetteville. Oh, okay. I thought that was it.
Okay, hold that. Hold me.
Hold on. Okay.
Pause that. Face your problems boldly and call for Vishnu.
Yeah.
Vishnu.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Vishnu removes the darkness from your life.
Mm-hmm. He'll light the lamps.
Yeah. Kaustubha Ji believes in demons.
Kaustubha believes in demons. Kaustubha, I got one thing to say to you, my friend.
What's that?
You, my life.
What?
You give me hope
Oh, okay.
to carry on, light up my day, and fill my heart with love. It can't be wrong when it feels so right. 'Cause you, Kaustubha Ji, you light up my life.
Thanks,
Everybody, for joining us. Woohoo! Hey, Patreon members, sweet baby Krishna tonight. Gopal's house. You can just come there if you want. Grant, New York. Or you can just join us here, 7 p.m. tonight. And yes, thanks everybody for joining us. If you're not a Patreon member, patreon.com/wisdom of the sages, and you can enter that little secretive chamber that we have. And thanks everybody for joining us. I think that's it. I'm not going to say anything else.